All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. How are you guys doing? Welcome back to another live stream. I see we got a good bunch of people with us today. Audio good, video good. Awesome. What's up, Silver? We've got Nabula, Goldfinchy. What's up? Let's do some names. Tomif, what's up, man? JJ Tiger, TJ, hey man, how you doing, bro? Soldier Boy, we've got Bustamy with us as well. That's a good, solid group, guys. Damn. Daar gaan we. Let's go, man. What's up, man? What's up, Daytona? Good to see you again. Yo, what's up, Austin? Hope you're well, man. What's up, Axe? Good to see you. It's been a while, man. It's been a while since I saw you around. That's good. We've got Dota as well. Fine way. Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Just a bit busy. Last few weeks leading up to the summer holidays for the kids, right? So that's going to be a pain in the ass, but we'll manage. Yo, what's up, man? We've got CCM with us today as well. Pai Chan. If I pronounce your name wrong, bro, don't, I'm just dog shit with names. Watching at 4 a.m. Damn, son. Dedication. Well, it's good because, we're going to be breaking things down pretty well. We've got some quality stuff coming up. We've got Fia with us today. MD. C2M, honestly don't know, bro. Honestly don't know. I should have went with a better name, to be honest. But now it's like, can't really do it. Can I? What's up, guys? Jano. We've got Mahmood as well. Good to see you guys. So one more minute and then we're kicking it off. How was your weekend? Did you guys do anything nice or just chilling? What's the weather like? It was rainy all day here. Hey, Leon. Good to see you, man. Good evening. Let's take a look if I got everything here. So it's looking a bit iffy here. I'll say that right off the bat. VWAPs, normal chart, the prep, Forks Factory. Then we've got the dash. All right. Right. Same weather? Yeah, it's dog shit, bro. What's up, Patrol? You stayed at the BTC charts today. I mean, I can find better things to do during the weekend, to be honest. Girlfriend's birthday. You went away. That's good. Did you do something nice? There are some talks about it, yeah. I can't say that out loud here on the live stream, can I? Bro, honestly, you came to the right stream. Like, Axe is asking, like, this is why I see you're new, right? Because you asked, like, can you do a small walkthrough on how you map structure? Bro, this is how I'm mapping structure. What we're going to be doing today, like market profile, long-term VWAP, rolling VWAP, building a narrative around that. What are we going to be trading, etc., etc. So it's going to be good. Yo, what's up, Distinct? Hope you're well, man. So before we start this off, I mean, you guys are familiar with it, but I'm getting heaps of questions about the affiliate system. For now, we're running Bybit because we are sponsored by Bybit. So, if you want to have access to these streams on a daily basis without paying, all you have to do is go to primetrading.ai, make an account, right? Make a burner account like I did. And then you go here and then you select, right? You make an account on Bybit using our referral link. Then you can select the exchange, right here. Click Bybit, put in your user ID, connect, and that's it. All you have to do is start trading and you'll get access to everything, right? The indicators, the Discord, all the good stuff. So, yeah, with that being said, let's take a look at what we have today. And for that, we're going to be starting off with the usual. It is the 7th of July already. First week in Impact for News events. What do we have next week? We've got a bit of a quiet week. We've got the tariffs deadline on Wednesday, I believe. So besides that, we've got FOMC meeting minutes on Wednesday and unemployment claims on Thursday. So FOMC minutes on Wednesday and unemployment claims on Thursday. So, I need to write this. I can't write anymore, right? On Thursday. So there's that. Nothing really out of the ordinary, to be honest. I'll be trading my levels nonetheless. So recent developments on TPO. So what do we have on TPO? And we're going to be using Sierra chart for that. If you're new to these streams, I'm using a daily layout top left. I'm going to be using a weekly layout on the top right. This is a monthly time frame. And then right here, this is a daily as well. But you can see that I'm using this for my composites and I'm using this for my single daily profiles because I want to see everything, right? I don't want to have a single chart layout. So one of the most important takeaways heading into this week is going to be, and I'm going to be taking you to the top right corner. Now, you would ask me right away, why is your value area not lining up with the actual value? I'll tell you why, because I have already merged this week within the previous 6 weeks. If I were to undo all merges within this profile, what I would argue, well, I think it's not really an argument, but I think it's pretty safe to say that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now a 7th week of overlapping value. So one thing that you guys know that I tend to do is I merge profiles. So when there's a value overlap with the previous profile, I continue to add those weeks or days within that previous profile. So let's do that together. Right click, let's zoom in a bit more. Right click, merge with next profile. 1, 2, 3. Then this is a 4, 5, 6, and then 7 week. I'm already doing it because it's the, we only have a couple of hours left, and then I need to adjust this briefly towards the value area low. And let's remove the rightmost merge to see what this week is actually doing. Right here, we can see that Bitcoin is currently trying to break above the 7-week value area high. However, sellers are stepping in, which is to be expected. We've got a pretty shitty low there. So, as long as Bitcoin maintains this entire region as resistance, I'm inclined to think that purely based on TPO, we're going to be getting some downside here, okay? So this is resistance going forward. Now, if we're taking a look at the single profiles here, we can see that we have a naked point of control above, right? This was a day when we had like a huge amount of absorption at the high and then we closed below, right? This is often going to be a bearish indication that there's a large amount of longs being trapped at this high and that we're getting a flush lower. That's what we got. Then we got a large amount of selling at the lows. Well, what do we get? We get a squeeze of those shorts. However, we are rejecting at a all 2-day composite value area low, confluent with this weekly value area high. We've got a naked point of control there, naked point of control here, poor low there, and a poor low there. So everything combined, also, the point of control right now is shifting higher. We're trading below. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of these Sunday moves higher with such a large amount of inefficiencies below, right? Which is, making me a bit careful here. Now, the deadline is moved towards August 1st. All right. Cheers, man. Thank you. I wasn't aware of that. So the weekly is at key resistance. The daily is at key resistance. And the monthly is kind of, flirting with a 2-month value area high here. But honestly, I'm going to be going with this 7-week composite because it's more recent and more relevant to me at this point. So let's write that down. Let's go to the prep, market profile. Let's get my mic out of my mouth. We formed a 7-week value with a value area high that is at 109K and a value area low that is at 103,770. We've got a 7-week value area high that is confluent with 2-day composite value high. I would say this is going to be our bearish line in the sand. Then we have anomalies. And for that, I want to be aware of the naked point of control at 110K and 107,330. And then we have poor low. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. We've got poor lows intraday and from 4th of July, right? If I go towards that chart, this right here is a poor low intraday, the 2 blocks next to each other. It's not an efficient low, right? So we're likely to revisit that at one point in time. We've got a bunch of single prints here. We've got another poor low there. We've got a naked point control there. So in my opinion, as long as this holds as resistance, we're likely to rebalance those inefficiencies. Is that going to be super bearish? Who knows? But I do know that there's a very interesting trade coming up. So are we clear on TPO? If I were to quickly summarize this, I'd say very simplistic. If we were to dumb things down, I'd say in terms of anomalies, these two are the most important ones. And in terms of key contextual levels, this right here at 109K is key resistance. If Bitcoin does not hold this as support, I think we're going to go lower. If we're getting a clean break back above, consolidation, retest, I'm inclined to think that we're going to be rebalancing this high there, right? So going forward, heading into this week, our bearish line in the sand is going to be based around the 7-week value area high. I'll catch up on the chat in a bit, all right? I want to get this prep out first. So that's TPO done. If you have any questions regarding this, let me know. I'm going to be moving forward with VWAP right now. So if we're taking a look at the bands, and if you're new, again, I'm using a yearly time frame here on VWAP. I'm using a quarterly time frame on VWAP there. I'm using a monthly time frame on VWAP here and a weekly time frame on VWAP here. Starting off on the yearly, I'd say Bitcoin on a high time frame basis is looking pretty good, where it tried to break below developing year value high, failed to do so. One of the things that I tend to do when trading is I ask myself, what's the market trying to do? Is it doing a good job? Yes or no? In this case, it was doing a really bad job of trying to accept within developing value. So that's, bullish. We got that break above, and in my opinion, as long as we maintain this as support, we're just pinched between a standard deviation 2 from 2024, which capped the all-time high here, and then we have the developing year value high there as higher time frame support. In an event where we do start trading higher after a short-term consolidation here, I'm going to be targeting the standard deviation 3 from 2024, and then the developing standard deviation 2 from the current year. So anything in between 123-ish up until 128, that I think is going to be, the next area where we're going to be finding overhead resistance. What's up, Daniel? Welcome. So that's the yearly done. Now, if we're taking a look at the quarterly here, I'd say, again, you guys know how I feel about quarterly VWAPs. It's my go-to level of interest, where in this case, we swept that low. Remember 2 weeks ago, I said if we get a H12 close above, we're getting upside towards, this high, potentially even higher. That's what we got. Now that we're trading back above a new previous quarterly value high, which we didn't really tag yesterday or a couple of days ago, right? What I would like to see now is any push deeper followed by a reclaim. To me, that's a buying opportunity. And I'm going to be targeting these equal highs. Conversely, I would argue that if we're getting a clean break back within quarterly value, that's going to be super bearish. At which I think we're going to be tagging 100K again and maybe even 96K, right? Because at that point, right here, if this is value, we all know that value area high, whoops, damn, that's a cricket line. And then we've got the value area high. So if we have a failed break above value and we accept back within previously established value, in this case, the previous quarter, this now becomes super big resistance. And we're going to be getting a real rotation lower towards the point of control first, and then potentially even the value area low. So, this to me, we have now defined our bearish line in the sand, which is the 7-week value area high. The bullish line in the sand for me is going to be this previous quarterly value area high around roughly 106. Now, in this case, we've got the monthly. The monthly tried to break below previous month value area high. As again, as always, super clean interactions. Couldn't do it. Large amount of sellers came into the market here, which is getting, an unwind high right now into supply. Is this genuinely bullish on a Sunday? I don't know, right? Especially considering the fact that we've got that 7-week value high here. Flip it as support, sure, I'll get long. But until then, I'm leaning towards a bit more downside here, right? In terms of trades, I think the range that we're making here is, let's get these out of the way. The range that we're in is from this low towards that high. So heading into next week, I will even allow for a sweep followed by a reclaim to get short. This would have my preference as an A plus short for a move towards the lows, because I will be playing mean reversions within this range. I will show you that on a different chart in a bit. And then for longs, right, sweep it, reclaim it, like that would be good as well, in my opinion, for a move towards the highs. So that's the monthly done. Now the weekly is simply rotational. Let me just go towards an H2 chart for a second. The weekly here is where things are getting interesting, because in a couple of hours, we are going to be getting a new previous week value. Now that new previous week value lines up with a sweep above this high or a sweep below that low into that previous week value low for longs. Depending on how Monday is going to be forming, if we're getting a quality Monday's range, I don't really know about that. But what I do know is that considering the contextual levels that we have confluent with previous week value high, with the 7-week value high here, and the previous week value low with the previous quarter value high, what I want to be doing next week is I'm going to be fading any failed move above or below previous week value. And if we can find genuine acceptance above or below, I will be going with that break from value, okay? So let's run that down. Let's summarize this. Longer term VWAP. We are consolidating between developing year value high and standard deviation 2 from 2024. We have a failed break below previous quarter value high. This is going to be our bullish line in the sand, right? Bearish line in the sand is the 7-week value high. We failed to break below previous month value high, and we are rotational within developing week value. Upcoming previous week value. So that brings me towards the rolling VWAP, which is the last thing that I want to be aware of here. Right here, rolling VWAP, and then let's remove all of the drawings. H12. So last week we got the sweep. Initially we got the short in right from the previous stream where this was a sweep to get short. Then we swept this low into H12 the month for long towards the highs again. So we had a really good week. But in terms of the developing rolling VWAP, I think as long as Bitcoin maintains support above the 30-day, I don't want to see a retest. I'll be honest. I just want to see a sweep followed by a reclaim. Maybe if we're getting a rotational, let me just zoom in a bit more. H4. Let's get this better in. So what I will allow for is if this is indeed the range and we do a bit of a two-side trade here, right? And then heading into Monday or Tuesday, we're getting a final sweep of the lows into the 30-day followed by a reclaim. I think this is where I'll be looking for longs. Right there. Whoops, not right there. Right there. And I'm going to be targeting the equal highs up here. Now, a genuine break below the 30-day VWAP, like that's bearish, right? Because at that point, we can expect this to occur again, right? Where it's resistance for a while. And at that point, the next likely destination is going to be the 90-day rolling VWAP for me. So going forward, the only thing that I want to be aware of is that we are trading above 30-day. VWAP needs to hold, otherwise 90-day likely. Okay? So are we clear on that? Let me get a sip of my drink and I'll quickly catch up on the chat and I'll cover all the questions later on. Yo, what's up, Stein? Hope you're doing well, man. Steamo, that's good to hear. I'm glad you like the videos on the courses. They're a bit, I'll be honest. If I would do them all over again, which I plan to do at one point, the quality obviously is going to be better, right? But you know, for now, like the courses, the market profile stuff, and the order flow, like it contains like a lot of value. I agree, but you know, I'm going to be updating some of the things later on as well, like when I have a bit more time. So you don't use volume profile value areas? No, my value areas are based on time. And you know, if everything is clear right now, I'm going to be moving forward because otherwise, you know, not everybody has the entire evening. We're going to be doing the Q&A later on. Okay, so let's go back to the prep. Summarize. Let's summarize everything. After 7 weeks, Bitcoin remains in a rotational environment where the 7-week value high is currently capping upside and the previous quarter value high is capping downside. Right, we've got bearish line in the sand, bullish line in the sand. Heading into next week, our focus will be around these two levels for potential trades. Acceptance above the 7-week value high, and I'll expect another attempt at the equal highs above. I can't type, but you know, you get the drill. A fill break below the prior low, and I'll look for longs instead. Narrative, right? All eyes on the low time frame range. Mean reversion trades until proven otherwise. Should there be a genuine break from value, I will look to go with the trend, which, oh my gosh, which means I will look for longs above the 7-week value high, targeting the equal highs and potentially all-time high. A break below the previous quarter value high, and I will look for shorts. Where would I target? Targeting the 7-week value area low. If I were to show you this on a chart, because let's be honest, we want to see a chart. Let's get rid of the indicators real quick right there. Hourly time frame, right? So what that would mean to me is currently, you know, we're getting some sellers stepping in here, which is, you know, also if we're taking a look here, right, we've got the high volume bar with the point of control there. No surprise, right? The positioning within this bar is capping upside. It is also confluent with that 7-week value area high. So that's good to see. In my honest opinion, as long as we trade within this lower time frame range, we can look for reversion trades until proven otherwise. Now, what does that mean? Which hypos will we have going into next week? It means that, whoops, I don't want to zoom in. If we're getting downside, honestly, I kind of expect it from this point on. However, I'm also open to the idea where we consolidate for a bit, and then on Monday, we're maybe getting a fake drive higher. And then if this fails and becomes a deviation above the 7-week value high, from a higher time frame perspective, that means, where's the 7-week? It's all the way down here. Holy shit. Okay, so from a higher time frame perspective, this is the value that we're trading within, right? We should not forget about that because high time frame more important than the lower time frames. So this is the value that we're trading within. Should we do this and then break back within value, high time frame, this is telling us we're bearish, right? Because I don't really care about the previous week value when the 7-week composite is telling me, yo, we're failing to hold as a support. This shit is going lower, right? So at that point, I'm going to be looking for shorts in validation above the high, and I'm going to be targeting ultimately the 7-week. However, if Bitcoin starts trading lower and then it sweeps this low and reclaims it, we need to assume that our bullish line in the sand, which is the previous quarter value high, which is longer than a 7-week composite, right? At that point, we need to assume, okay, quarterly, more important than the 7 weeks, we're going to be looking for longs here. So I'll be cutting the trade and I'll look for longs again. And I'm going to be targeting the 7-week and the equal highs and then potentially all-time highs. So how would that look? Well, if we do this and we leave the equal highs, it's better for long. And we start to consolidate here. Maybe we get like a 1, 2, 3 drive. 1, 2, 3. Drive structure similar to what we did right here, right? 1, 2, 3. Same stuff here. It's always the same. 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Reclaim that low into key contextual level. We're getting long and we're targeting the equal highs. Am I going to be super bullish when we're trading here? No, because the trade is from this point towards that point. 60% out of the trade. If we're breaking through this cleanly, sure, at that point, I'll look for longs and I'm going to be targeting the equal highs to potentially all-time high. But until then, I'm just going to be playing this range, okay? So in terms of hypos, it means to me that I'm going to be fading failed breaks from value, right? Fading them until proven otherwise. And if I'm proven otherwise, where we're getting a breakaway from value, ideally on high volume, consolidation, tries to break back within, fails to hold it as resistance, right? And I'm long. And I'm targeting the equal highs. Or clean break below, consolidation. We try to break back within value, seller step in, boom, back below previous quarter value high. This is acceptance back within quarterly value. We're targeting previous month VWAP first, and after that, we're going to be targeting the 7-week value area low, right? So let's write that down. Hypos, long, sweep below range low into previous quarter value area high for longs towards 7-week value high and potentially higher. Short, sweep above range high followed by a close below 7-week value area high for shorts towards previous quarter value area high and 7-week value area low. Now the risky trades, because the risky trades are where we go with the break from value and those come with additional risk. So if I'm taking these personally, I'm doing it with a reduced risk profile. Long, risky, acceptance below, no, acceptance above 7-week value high for longs towards equal highs and all-time high. Short, risky, acceptance below previous quarter value area high for shorts towards 7-week value area low. Now, where am I wrong on my thesis, right? Well, my bullish line in the sand for mean reversion trades is and longs is previous quarter value area high. That is why you see me switching gears on a short when we have acceptance below that level and I'm no longer looking for longs there, right? My bearish line in the sense is going to be the 7-week value high, which is why I'm shifting gears here, right? Acceptance above, and I'm looking for longs because I do not want to be the guy that is going to look, ooh, surprise, right? I don't want to be the guy that's when there's a definitive break above the 7-week value high. Oftentimes, this is the playbook. Everybody is conditioned right now to be fading extremes, right? When we're in a bracketing environment, everybody wants to short value high, long value low. However, if there's a genuine breakaway from value and we start building time and space above and we retest this as support, a lot of people, when they get stopped out on the first short, they're like, well, my playbook said this needs to be resistant, so I'm going to be shorting this entire fucking move higher, right? They continue to short, and then all the way up here, right? So they're essentially the fuel that drives the next leg upwards, and that's what I do not want to be. That is why I have a bearish line in the sand, which is this, right? And I have a bullish line in the sand, which is here. So that's basically the prep done. And this took me, what, 30 minutes. So if you take 30 minutes of your time every Sunday with me, you'll learn it yourself, and then you know what and when to trade. Is that clear for everybody? And by the way, give me some likes on the stream. We're with 130 peeps right now. Let's make sure that we got all the likes in. I think I've reached 5k subs, right? Didn't I? I need to reach like 10k before the end of the year. So, all right. So that was the prep, right? Now let's do a bit of a Q&A. Because I saw a large amount of questions and I do want to answer your questions individually. So let's scroll a bit upwards. Cents to millions. Okay, so actually that was basically the walkthrough on how I'm mapping structures based on VWAP, TPO, rolling VWAP, etc. And this is how I'm creating my bias, okay? So I hope that makes sense to you. Do you give Bitcoin prep and daily outlook every day within the group? Yes, I do this every day within the group. So we're doing this stream daily, and afterwards I'm posting the recorded session if you cannot make it, and I'm also posting the written format because I am aware that not everybody has time to be watching streams. So that's why I'm doing these, right? And I post these in a nice format within Discord so you know when and where to trade. Have you ever tried 1K to 100K challenge? I do this personally, and I think, you know, doing these publicly, well, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I think, you know, having like a certain management to reach it in time is promoting the wrong mindset of trading, right? I don't want to promote like going 100 leverage short with, you know, all in to try and make 100K. And that's usually what you're seeing during those challenges. We got Stein with us. Good morning, good afternoon, buddy. Would you please talk about how you build a large position, entry rise, proper execution for larger trades? I will do that within a Discord session, not on a YouTube stream here because it's a bit personal. Let's scroll down. We've got the deadline moved to August. Which pair am I using? 7-week value high next. So I'm using the BTC. Right click, chart settings, symbol, BTC USDT Binance. It's a spot pair. Right? This is exactly why it's important to know which profiles you want to be merging. Super clean interaction there. Too good to be true, honestly. Standard deviation. It's a deviation from the mean. So if this is VWAP, right? It's this is what, look, this is TPO, value high, value low. It's roughly 70%, right? From the mean. Point of control is fair value. This is roughly a standard deviation 1. This is roughly a standard deviation -1. If we have VWAP, we've got a standard deviation 1 band, which is, you know, at the beginning is really narrow, nearby fair value, but the more time we have within that period, the more it starts to expand, right? That's the standard deviation 1 and -1 bands. I'm always using spot for my TPO because I want to know where underlying money is actually buying, right? Where USD is buying. What's up, Stonks? Hope you're doing well, buddy. Do you go through the same process when looking at purple outs? Yes, sir. Look, this is the prep from Ethereum, right? From 3.7. So we're going to, you know, I do this with Ethereum as well. I'm not doing these personally for example, other shit coins because Bitcoin is leading, right? Bitcoin and Ethereum are leading. So I think it is, you know, it's worth my time to do like a prep on this for Bitcoin and Ethereum. We're covering altcoins as well, but they are just simply lagging to Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? So if I want to execute some altcoins, I'll just look for BTC strength first and then execute on that. Do you think expecting 104K is too much? We have a couple of major single prints there. 104s. 104s. Where? I mean, if we're trading 104, like that's bearish in my opinion, because 104s is. Look, this is what I said last week as well. If Bitcoin is bullish, we need to have shallow retracements. Why should we allow everybody to get in here on that picture? Look, everybody's waiting for this fair value gap, right? In my opinion, if we're running it that low, we're going to go lower. Maybe do this, right? And then go up. Because why would they allow all of the people that are sidelined right now to get in at such a good price? That's why I think I will allow for this, then a reclaim, but this is as low as that can go for me personally. Why 7 weeks? Well, because look, undo, all merges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks of overlapping value. So a 7-week composite. The 8th week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because look at value here. Look, this is a little lesson, right? Look. Where is value here? Do we have a 50% value overlap from this week with that week? No. Do we have a 50% value overlap from this week with that week? Yes. So this is where the composite starts, right there. And when I made my beginning point, we do not look left to add to the composite. We only look right to add into the composite, okay? How much time do you think? Yes, I only trade the levels that I mark. Yeah, 100%. Do you know why? Because a lot of time, and I think a lot of people will, you know, it's because A, my levels work, right? Don't want to be cocky, but we can clearly see it. And B, a large amount of traders will have this mindset where they do the prep, resistance support, and in the meantime, they get bored. So they're like, okay, I know we're trading in the middle of nowhere, but this is a swing failure right there. Let's just take a short there, right? And then boom, we go back up, you take a loss and you're like, oh, fuck this, I'm done. I'm not going to be taking this short because I already took a loss, right? But this is the trade that you wanted to take. And then you're missing out on the real trade, right? So that's why I'm doing these preps daily for myself, not just for the group, but I'm actually trading my book. I'm actually trading these levels myself as well. Because I just want to have, you know, I don't give a fuck about whatever happens at fair value. This is resistance, that is support. What happens in the meantime? If we do this for 4 days, perfect, bro. Because that means I'm 4 days without a chart. I have an alert there and I've got an alert there. If it doesn't give me an alert within 4 days, I'm making cookies with the kids or whatever, right? I'm not going to be sitting behind my desk. I don't necessarily look at the standard deviation of rolling VWAP, no. Liquidity stuff in terms of, well, let me explain this to you, right? I did a video about order blocks because I have a large amount of people that were requesting it within my DMs, like, hey, can we have your point of view about order blocks? But order blocks is essentially what it is. It's liquidity, right? It's order flow. So we have an initial low. Stops are being placed below this low for early longs. If we're sweeping that low, there's a cascade of liquidity of stops right there, right? And there's also breakout traders that want to get involved below this low as well. Now, if we trade below the low and there's a large increase in participation and we don't do anything at all, right? The market remains at this level and then we start to break above. It means that someone is absorbing all of that sell pressure, right? And then we start to trade above this high, right? Think about this from a psychological standpoint and B, from a positioning standpoint. Everybody that went short into this move low, thinking that we would go lower, but we didn't do so, what would you do when we go back to your entry point after you just realized I made a mistake, right? You will want to get out around break even, which is why the positioning within this downward move is causing support. Not because it's some magical ICT dot order block or whatever the fuck it is. It's because of the positioning. The people that went short, they want to get the fuck out. That is, and what do you do when you want to get out of your short? You're buying it back. So, buy pressure. That is why it works. It doesn't work because it's it's a down close candle. No. Oh, that's a large amount of positioning within the down close candle, right? That's why it works. So essentially it's just order flow. It's not, if you were to plot like a 30, let's say that this is a 30-minute bar and it would look like this, right? This is the candlestick, a down close candlestick. Within this candlestick, we will have a volume profile. And that volume profile will probably look like this, right? Point of control there. And this is why oftentimes when we do have a bullish order block, when price revisits it, it does not close below the mean threshold, the middle point of the candlestick, because that's where the point of control is of that single 30-minute or hourly or 4-hour candlestick, right? Order block, right? So that's how it works. I always use volume point of control instead of time-based point of control for my point of controls. That's correct, because I want to know where the actual positioning is occurring. Let's see. Did I miss some questions? I want my summer break, dude. Yeah, I mean, I have the same. I'm starting to feel it as well. That I've been at it too much. I need to have like some sort of a break as well. But you know, gotta keep it up. Why we need a failed attempt at a 7-week value high? Isn't current weakness enough? No, you've got you. I think you misunderstood me. This is enough for me. However, let's say that this is my first attempt at a short, perfectly fine trade. But if we come back up into this level and spike this high once more and then close below, do you think that I'm like, well, you know, I'm not taking a short anymore because it stopped me out the first attempt? No, nothing changed here, right? Even better. So I'll take one final attempt and then this needs to be it. Because I see a lot of people when they're getting long initially, let's say that they get long here, stop below the low, takes them out, and then it sets up another trade. And they don't take the trade because why? It didn't invalidate your initial thesis. The market this is just variance, right? We don't know what's going to be happening. The only thing that we can control is our risk management. So that is why I think it is important to always, you know, give it another shot. That's what I meant. Cookies with the kids. Now, trust me, bro, if you got 2 kids, then you're going to be making cookies because they're like, you know, they want to do something. And I'm not that type of dad that's like, go watch TV. I want to do something with my kids as well. You're very welcome, man. I'm very pleased that you got that point, CCM. What pair you use to trade order flow? For order flow, my preference has Bybit, 100%. Bybit perps. The C stands for in 6-day CVAL, composite value area low. The C stands for composite. You're short from 109. That's good. How should you trade this? Well, like I just said, this needs to be resistance, and this is going to be a good area to take profit. At least 60% or something along those lines. And then if we get a clean break back within, your next area of interest is going to be not here, not here, not here. It's going to be here. 105.340. No, I honestly, the thing, I know a lot of people have edge when looking at passive liquidity in the form of heat maps. I think you're referring to heat maps, right? For me, heat maps really mess up execution for me personally, and I think for a lot of people, because you'll see charts going on Twitter. They're like, when price is doing this, right, then you'll get these orders. Let's do some cool colors, right? Red. And everybody's like, oh, we've got big fucking support at 114K because of the passive liquidity, right? And then all of a sudden, when we start to trade here, it's poof, they're gone, right? No longer there, and they're moved lower. And then everybody is like, oh, you know, they moved it lower, but that's okay. We're going to go towards 113. But what they don't tell you is that they tried to long this based on the order flow, right? But it just fucked them up. Because heat maps for crypto, to me, don't make sense because of the spoofing. If you're within equities, right, then that's regulated. So at that point, I'm like, okay, resting orders make sense to add for your contextual levels. Is someone actually interested in here? But you don't know what they're doing on other exchanges, right? You don't know what they're doing on perps. With crypto, there's just a bunch of games that are being played with heat maps. And, you know, I think, or at least, I'm not going to be saying that it's not good for you. For me, I have no value in using it because it just messes me up. If I'm looking for shorts and all of a sudden I'm seeing like a gazillion buy wall slightly below my entry point, I'm like, oh shit, maybe we're going to go upwards, right? I close out the short, 5 minutes afterwards, buy wall is gone and we nuke it, right? So, you know, to me, nah, that's not for me, right? But some people, like we've got Skew on Twitter, you know, he's like super comfortable using it and he knows but he knows the underlying mechanics as well. And I'll be honest, I know fuck all about the underlying mechanics. So, you know, I just know what I do best, and that is VWAP, TPO, order flow in the form of footprint charts, stuff like that. Heat maps, not my cup of tea. So yeah. You know, and then you've got like these charts of like what's it called? Like the maps for fucking liquidations. The liquidation maps. What's that? What's it called? I can't recall. Like that's something else as well, bro. Like, but I won't even go into that. But you know, what I would say is if you were to neglect everything there is and just focus on volume, focus on VWAP, focus on volume for TPO, time-based rotations. You know when and where to get in. I don't care if you're trading ICT to get in. I don't care if you're trading order flow to get in. You just need to know when and where to get in, right? Oh yeah, it's the high block shit, bro. That's it. The high block stuff. Like, I don't want to shit on the platform, but to me, it's like if I'm seeing it, if I'm, you know, just leave it at that. I basically do this on and out. Buy spot, side sell, perp, then remove bits and spot. Yeah, I mean, there was a video. I had like a good video about that as well from someone on Quant Tower. Do you know what I mean, Stonks? There was a guy on Quant Tower who was basically propping. I can't say it. But he was buying spot and he was loading up on perps for a short, and then he sold all his inventory on spot. That led to the cascade lower on perps. And that's how they do it. Can I do a tutorial on your CR chart settings? I will need 2 hours for that, bro. But I'm just going to do this. Studies, TPO, settings, and you'll need to pause it for yourself. These are my current settings for TPO. Okay? If I need to explain everything within the stream, then we're here on Monday morning still. This is where I learned it. Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly, bro. That's the guy. He got charged, right? Can you send me the link on Discord, Stonks? That's exactly who I was referring to. He got charged. Yeah, he was like, "Yo, look what I can do in Quant Tower." Legend. I see your DM, bro. Thank you. I'm going to rewatch that. Perfect. If I only try higher time frames such as daily or weekly, is there a reason to do TPO at lower time frames such as TPO is all. Listen, I don't know why, or I don't know where I'm seeing this shit, but TPO, guys, studies, settings, TPO is always 30 minutes for a single block. Don't be using 4-hour, hourly, 5-minute, 15-minute shit rotations for TPO. Market profile is 30 minutes. There is no other setting for that. It's just 30 minutes. If you wank up your settings, your entire calculation goes to shit. So only 30 minutes, bro. What did you ask about See Me? I didn't saw it. Let me know. What's your question regarding See Me? You always highlight the sweeps and reclaims as great entry points, but of course they aren't always given, and sometimes the chart just nukes at the level. How do you combat this, and do you still consider the trade A plus if you were to take it? No, the question is not too in depth. I think it's a wonderful question, and it's really simple. I miss out on the trade, so I have this tendency where I'm being a bit too cocky, or not too cocky, but too picky is the word, right? I'm too picky. Usually I only trade high volume bars. So if we have like a high volume bar, whoops, let me just show you here, right? We had a 2-day composite value high. High volume bar rejection right there, short towards structural level, right? Another push upwards, got stopped out of the remaining trade. Another high volume bar, short, targeting, whatever your trade at that point in time is, right? Everything here, no trade, no trade, no trade, because no high volume bar. High volume bar, point of control high, short, right? Targeting, 6-day, confluent with previous quarterly value. So if this does not set up, it also means that oftentimes, for example, this, I don't get in. But it helps me avoid unnecessary losses. Oh, my bad, bro. My bad. I thought you were referring to lower time frame as in using 5-minute settings for TPO. It's like, no, man, don't do that. So for me, TPO is just a contextual level, right? It doesn't really matter to me if it's I'm using TPO right here, right? But if you're using higher time frame levels, you can still execute based on the H12. Just use your swing plan, right? It's not that I'm using like a 5-minute chart. I won't go lower than a 30-minute time frame, to be honest, for me, right? So we use TPO and we use VWAP to determine where is resistance, where is support. If you're trading an H4, H12 daily chart, I don't really care, right? This is resistance. If you're referring to using TPO as a daily profile to get into trades, no, that's not what I would do if I were you. I would only stick to composites. For example, I don't know, maybe when we have like a 6-day composite or a 3-day composite, at that point, it's the level of interest. But single daily profiles, no. I think this move, you jumped out at 108.7. That's good, bro. I think this move is, it's on a Sunday and we're running up into a key contextual level. We've got a bunch of poor lows below. We have got like, an intraday poor low here, naked point of control. So I'm slightly leaning towards a bit more downside. We've just filled in the single prints that we covered at the beginning of the stream. But to me, this is, is not necessarily bullish. So the reason why I'm using Sierra chart right now is because Extra Charts does not have a TPO only mode, and when they do, then it becomes interesting. But until then, the reason why is because, as you can see right now, I can have 6 weeks of value within this single pane here, like a small little window, right? On Extra Charts, because they have a chart overlay with candlesticks, there's a big gap between this profile and the next one, right? So that at that point, I can't really see what's happening. So for me, on how I'm using it, I can't use that yet. I am short, yeah, I'm short from this high. So I want to close off the stream in a bit because I need to, offset some of that. Don't mean revert on me, please. Do you see me gap? Yes, I use it as a level of confluence. I'm not basing my entire trade thesis on it, but I use CME gaps to determine whether or not a level is interesting or not. That's all good, Gio, but it's a good question, bro. But I use CME gaps, yes. I'll check DMs later on, TJ. Thank you. I'm short swing here, to be honest. Have more ask for that run up on Monday high if we get it on ETH and BTC. Yeah, I'm thinking the same plan here. As long as like, I don't know. Could see a nasty unwind lower from a contextual level like that 7 week, like that's big ass resistance. What did Mowgli ask? Let me just check. Mowgli, what did you want to know, bro? I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Yeah, I mean, it's mainly BTC, Ethereum, and then we're going to, and then we we do the ETH, Hype, Farcoin, Sol, Pepe, right? That shit. Like the pairs that actually move. I'll see you tomorrow morning, Stonks. Have a good one, man. Take care. I appreciate you joining the streams, Distinct. Thank you. I use UTC 0. Yes. TradingView TPO is dog shit. TradingView order flow is dog shit. Don't use that. All right. I think that's a wrap. So if you made it this far, do me a favor, leave me a like, help me reach 10k subs this year. It will be amazing. Like it's a super milestone for me. I'm super thankful for everybody here joining me today. I've reached 5k subs. Never thought that it was possible. Like we've been doing well on YouTube. So, you know, big thank you guys. And for the guys in Discord, I will see you guys tomorrow morning, same time as always. And for the rest of you who are watching the Sunday streams, I will catch you guys next week. Take care. Peace.